You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Barbell Logic podcast, Beast Over Burden. I'm your host, Nikki Sims, coach at Barbell Logic and Chief Experience Officer. And with me is Andrew Jackson.
Hello.
Hello. Andrew is also a coach and he's our Chief Operations Officer. Andrew, what's the latest on your training? You had a big leg day yesterday.
Man, I am loving training right now. I don't really have any big goals or aspirations right now. I'm in a phase of really balancing a number of changing variables, rapidly changing variables in terms of schedule, work, taking care of Clara, traveling a lot, and still able to get my training done. So I'm having a lot of fun with playing with the details of my program kind of in real time while still having productive training that fits within my lifestyle. And it's not stressful. It's fun.
Yeah, that's interesting because it sounds like you have a lot of priorities and you're not chasing any specific goal in your training, but training is still a priority.
Yes. And I don't have like we talked about last week, that immediate feedback of hitting PRs. Occasionally I might hit some rep PR. But I did, 3 sets of 5 at 365 kilos. Yes, kilos. I wish it was 365
kilos.
365 pounds. It felt good. It was solid. I felt balanced, heavy but doable. I got in, did a simple, hard, and effective squat set. And then after that, I had additional stuff programmed by my coach. I was technically supposed to be doing good mornings. But I understand that it's a combination of training hamstrings and my glutes and hip extensors in general. So I did other exercises that trained those muscles because I felt like it.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Did hip thrusts, leg curls. We found a pendulum leg press machine that was pretty fun.
Which I did just put that on my Instagram so y'all can see what it looks like. It is not a pendulum squat machine. Just want to say that one more time. Got some comments about that. But yeah, check out the video. It's a really cool thing. And that was unilateral. The 2 foot pieces are disconnected.
Right.
So that was kind of an interesting learning curve too, is feeling that you're pressing evenly.
Yeah.
You're not because the sides move at different rates.
Yeah, it's unusual because I've seen those for leg presses.
Yeah.
Not the pendulum variety, but usually you can pin the 2 sides together so that it's still a leg press machine. This one you could not, which I don't normally do, but it made for an interesting coordination challenge. I could not get my 2 legs to operate together, which
I bet you would figure that out in 2 weeks.
it would take some time. Yeah, I'm sure I would. And it would be an interesting, I think, challenge because I feel that throughout my squat pattern that the load kind of shifts from one leg to the other in kind of weird times, especially during the leg drive. I can kind of feel myself favoring a leg. So it would be interesting to practice that.
Yeah, that happens in my squat too.
Yeah.
I recently took some video from the back to see the asymmetries, and there they were.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was fun. I think it's something that I feel confident doing because I've been training for so long and I understand the principles behind my training and my coach's program. To repeat your phrase,
you have to know the rules before you can break them.
Right. And I think that's something that people should know how to do.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this yesterday as we were flying home. We were in Springfield this week trying to do our semi-annual leadership meetings, and Matt got deathly ill, so we had to fly back.
Nasty flu going around.
Yeah. I think it seems like it's going around across the country.
Yeah.
I have a ton of clients that are like,
too.
I don't know what happened. I got the flu, got wiped out.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Ugh.
Anyways, flying back and thinking about this feels like something that people should know how to do. What happened with physical education that we haven't learned how to manipulate our training variables? I shouldn't even put it in those words because that's kind of a technical way of saying just work with our bodies to feel good and be strong and build muscle and fuel it. And that seems like something that people would benefit from knowing how to do.
Well, I agree. And I think people have tried to solve that through their own businesses like we have, but it turns into a bunch of people telling other people that they're doing things wrong. And there's only one way to do it right.
Ooh.
And so people end up either in a state of frenzy, constantly jumping around, being like, this is the thing to do now, this is the thing to do now, this is the thing to do now, or just paralysis by analysis and don't do anything.
Right. I think there's two confounding variables that make the process of learning how to train and how to fuel your training difficult to understand. One is individual variability. All of our DNA is unique. We are the first version of this human to be on Earth. So there will be phenotype expressions that are unique and responses to different stimulus that are unique.
So like if I try and train the same way as a Chinese Olympic lifter, it will be expressed differently.
Yes. And this is why templates don't work.
Yeah.
Or they work for a little while because new gains work. Everything works for everybody to some degree at the beginning. But eventually you run into a point where there's going to be individual variation.
And that's why a template can work at one time and then not work again.
Right.
It worked for whatever reasons were the circumstances at that time. And then those circumstances have become different.
Right. And if you don't understand the principles behind why the program worked the first time, then you won't know what to modify when you try it again the second time and nothing happens. So going back to the two things, right? There's the individual variation, and then two, changes take a long time to happen. And it can be difficult to identify the signal through the noise. So you get stuck in this catch-22 of change, particularly for your body, to require you to do relatively the same thing over a long period of time. So you have to be bought into whatever you are doing long enough that it could actually have some change. But if you don't understand the principles or how you are adjusting or adapting to those activities at an individual level, then you could end up just bouncing around from one thing to the next. This is why template hopping is a thing.
Totally.
Because people don't understand the principles behind the program or themselves or how their body reacts or how to even interpret the things that they notice in their body. So they try the next thing. They try the next thing and try the next thing, try the next thing, or the next headline pops up with this diet or this program. And okay, that sounds good. So go to the other extreme, other extreme, other extreme, cut this out, try that, add this in. Nothing changes. So they feel totally out of control. Well, that's even for the people that are actively trying, let alone those that are just reacting to their body changing seemingly completely out of their control and adding 5-10 pounds of body weight every year. And then we get into a point where the country is what it is. And it's just really unfortunate. Don't think it should be that way. That's something I think that I enjoy helping people with the most, is not just coaching them with this program and this technical feedback, but helping people learn those principles and learn their individual response to training or nutrition stimulus, and building the tools and the skill set to implement training and nutrition strategies that work for them in their life and help them experience strength and improve their quality of life.
Yeah, you're right. They go from a state of, I don't know which to do. I hate where I'm at. I swear I've tried everything. Please, tell me what to do.
Right.
And you tell them what to do, but then you also tell them how to do it for themselves.
Right.
And that gives them the freedom and the ability to adjust it in a way that provides quality of life improvement. Instead of you just saying, time to do this now, time to do this now, time to do this now. And they're just kind of this I don't even think that lasts forever, is because that would mean that there's no flexibility for whatever their life is doling out to them at that point. But when you've taught them through your coaching how to make adjustments and the whys behind strategies, it gives them a lot of, I guess, agency would be the word.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Learning how to make changes that support their life and their goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking ownership, and it really kind of moves you out of feeling like you're a victim of your body. I mean, I can remember I've been there too, There were times where I thought I needed to go on massive restrictions, calorie restriction, or fasting, or eliminate certain food groups. I've reacted to all the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on all the diets. And sometimes it seems like they work. But if you don't, again, just like with a templated program, it can look like it works for reason X, but it was because of reason Y. Here's a great example. The paleo diet, super popular, certainly has some great principles incorporated in it, but a lot of it, I think, that works initially is that you eliminate access to a whole bunch of calories that you would normally have in your diet. And it might even seem like carbs are bad. So if when I went on paleo and I eliminated all my carbs, except for some amount of whole foods from vegetables or whatever, fruit maybe, then I lost all this weight. But then over time, I figured out how to get more calories.
Yes, because you were hungry still.
From the paleo foods. And next thing you know, you're eating, a pound of cashews a day.
I'm no longer eating moon pies for 500 calories, but
Right.
I am eating 500 calories of trail mix. Yeah.
Or steak, or, whatever it is that you finally figure out how to add in. Same thing happens with people that go vegan. Oh my God, I lost all this weight. Then fast forward 5 years, and the number of vegan processed food options that you can go get from the store, and you figure out how to increase your calories. So if you don't understand how to manage your calories, it's that then you get on some template that works for some period of time without understanding the principles, and then it stops working, or even does the opposite of quote unquote working, and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
So it's I think that's challenging for most people.
It is. There's a lot out there. There's a lot of marketing out there too that appeals to our desire to stop suffering, our desire to be somewhere different. And so it's appealing to try that quick fix.
Isn't that interesting, though, that the solution to suffering is suffering? Often it's presented, like I notice in the fitness industry, that you got to be this like hardcore sufferer, David Goggins
75
running
hard,
ultra 75 hard in order to stop the other kind of suffering.
Yeah.
I find that to be an interesting
trade-off, weird thing. Just like we're just beating ourselves up. It's just a different way of misunderstanding what your body's needing.
Yeah. Do you think that sustainable, effective training and nutrition requires suffering?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a mindset. Some people just kind of wake up suffering.
Fair point. Some people would argue the human condition is
Life
by
is
definition
pain.
suffering.
Yeah. But I don't think it does. I mean, I've gone through a bunch of different training and nutrition stuff in my life, but I really enjoy what I do for my training. I enjoy what I eat and how I reposition my goals. And I actually really enjoy my body. That's a cool place to be. I remember a long time not liking my body.
Right.
It's nice to look in the mirror pretty much almost all the time and be like, nice. I don't want to be cocky or anything, but it's like, I see a lot of people who aren't able to do that. And then they don't know what to do about it.
And that's over a
39 years.
Wide range of fluctuations too.
Yeah.
I think I've noticed has even been something relatively recent where you've been able to recognize kind of near-term changes without reacting to it because you understand what's going on.
Yeah. And one really important thing there is you have to have consistency somewhere to be rooted in an understanding of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there is one day where you feel like you eat well and one day where you feel like you eat too much, that is not enough data. There needs to be consistency in your nutrition for an amount of time that allows you to, kind of be a scientist about it. Be like, these variables were the same, produce this outcome.
Right.
Do I want this outcome? Yes or no? If yes, continue. If no, choose something a little bit different.
Right.
And then go from there, which is as we have coined before, minimum effective dose.
That's right. We talk about minimum effective dose adjustments in our training. And at the core of that is having enough consistency week over week in the variables that we manage and the changes that we make so that you can identify what is quote unquote working or not working. And I find the same thing to be true. We've talked about it before with the Snapback podcast.
Yeah.
Get back to a baseline of consistency, standardize your calories in and generally speaking, the food content that you're getting, and then start making small changes rather than, okay, I need to go on this elimination diet.
Right.
Get a good baseline that sustains your life and your training and your energy level. And then the amount of changes that you need to make are really hundreds of calories, and monitor with metrics and patience. I think you've talked about that before.
Yeah, there needs to be time because there are so many, the circumstances change so frequently. Like when you have a busy life, you're traveling one week, you don't sleep well another week, you decide to have a couple glasses of wine, that messes things up for a bit. You are eating somewhere out of your norm where you're having to kind of make guesses. Your training changes, your water fluctuates. So you have to be aware that those things can create, let's say, misreadings, but it can't be 100% accurate. You have to take all of that context in, which means you also need to have more time in the bank to be able to know what kind of change to make, and then make it a little change. Don't make it a big change.
Right.
Because that will just require more time to give you any feedback.
Right.
Yeah. Time and patience is very helpful, but it takes, we got to where we were, where I was when I was 38 years old. I had been making, whether I knew it or not, minimum effective dose changes for 38 years. Maybe I was overeating consistently for, 3 years and didn't realize it. How people will get into their 30s, and then by the time they get into their 40s, they've had 10 Christmases, 10 Thanksgivings, 10 whatevers, where every year they're working out a little bit less and eating a little bit more. That's a minimum effective dose change over a long amount of time. So you didn't just wake up heavier than you wanted to be. You got there over a long time. So if you want to make any changes that are lasting, you have to let that happen. Actually, you have to make that happen over a long amount of time too.
In a way that I would argue can't be suffering. I guess we could get into a big philosophical discussion about what suffering is or isn't. But if the changes that you're implementing are white knuckle, massively restrictive, painful day to day, meaning like you're hungry, you're low energy, you're not able to enjoy what you're eating, then it's not going to be sustainable long enough to accomplish your real goal.
Yeah.
Which is to improve the quality of your life.
Right.
The reason that we're doing, I was just having this conversation with a client this morning where he was kind of beating himself up because he wasn't 100% perfect on his nutrition last week. But he's in the middle of moving, kid got sick, wife's got sick, life is crazy. And he was there for his family. And
that sounds like a pretty good place to be.
Yeah. And he's not completely derailing. He's still being intentional about his choices. And this week had to pause on some of the details of his program. Okay. That is the whole point. Like, we're doing this to be able to be there for our family, for us to be able to live the life that we want. We're not doing this for the sake of filling out the form and lifting certain weight on the bar or completing certain number of exercises per week. It's the other way around. And if the thing that you're doing isn't supporting the quality of your life or improving the quality of your life, it's probably not the right thing, in my opinion. And I think the world would be a better place and a more muscular place if we could get more people to understand principles around simple, hard, effective training, minimum effective dose programming for strength and nutrition, and experiencing strength to improve the quality of your life. Like, these are the core things that we talk about and the things that can transform someone from suffering to being joyful with their training. I mean, that's what I see interestingly with your training. So you can tell that training is like a joyful part of your day.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's hard, sometimes it hurts, maybe arguably, or like it doesn't, I'm watching you grimace while you were doing the leg presses.
Oh, in a good way.
And your whole body's shaking, but it's like your body's getting to express itself physically
Yeah.
in a way that is joyful. And yet it is the thing that's also going to help you build muscle. It's going to be the thing that helps you accomplish your body composition goals. And it feels good and it improves the quality of your life. That to me is what training should be like.
Totally. Yeah.
But it's taken 39 years of a lot of experimenting. And
yeah. We got here somehow.
This is the thing that I think is important to keep in mind for our coaches and for the clients listening. We're not just showing up today with the program that we wrote last week and the technical feedback that we're giving in our workout today. It's bringing in years, decades of experience,
right,
all into that moment of coaching with these principles and philosophy to help our clients learn how to improve their quality of life, really accomplish their goals, have agency.
Yeah, not just choose to suffer and then brag about it. Yeah. Well, I like that. What did you say? Make the world a more muscled place.
Yes.
I like that. Love it. Well, choose fun, choose muscle. And we hope you got some value out of this. If you did, we'd love a review. We'd love an email if you have any questions. And if you want to learn more about what experience strength would be like with Barbell Logic, please schedule an experience call. That's barbelllogic.com/experience. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.